Let's check. Increasing and decreasing, we already know. We need to find the increasing. We used to find the slope. The slope, if it's positive, that's meaning increasing. If the slope is negative, it's meaning decreasing. Which is the same thing here. A function is increasing an open interval of two numbers, x1 and x2, if what? If the y x1 less than x2 and the y1 less than y2. The same thing if the slope positive number. But we're not going to use the slope. This is in general, the definition in general. We need to use the first derivative test to find the increasing and decreasing. The function increasing if the slope is positive, or x1 less than x2, the y1 less than y2. Like when you graph it, if you have this is x1 and this is x2, it's increasing if y1 less than y2. y1 here, y2 here. You see the function is what? Let's say these 2 points. The function is increasing. Okay? Just look like constant. If here is y1 and here is y2. This is y1 and here is y2. So the function is increasing. The function is decreasing when x1 less than x2, but y1 greater than y2. So when you trying to graph it or check the graph, if this is x1 and here is x2, x1 less than x2, and here is y1 and here is y2. Here is y1 and here is y2. So the function is decreasing, or the slope is going to be equal negative. The slope for this one is going to be negative number. But again, we need to use the first derivative test to find the increasing and decreasing, okay? Because next section, we're going to use the second derivative test to find the function conjugate up or down. Again, I'm going to use the first derivative test. So, and define the open interval in which the function is increasing or decreasing. So here's our function. The first thing I'm going to do always, focus. The domain on this one is, the domain for this one, it's a polynomial. Always the domain from negative infinity to positive infinity. Now, let's check. Find the critical numbers. So I'm going to find the derivative. So the derivative for the x, for the function, is going to be 2x minus 4. How to find the critical numbers? We need to set up the derivative equal to the 0. That's mean 2x minus 4 equals 0. Go ahead, solve this one. 2x equals 4. And then divide by 2. So x is going to be equal to 2. So I have only one critical number. There is the critical number. This side, the positive infinity, and this side. So it's called increasing and decreasing. And the first derivative test. So I'm going to test the first derivative. Here is the first derivative. Then I need to find on this interval an increasing or decreasing. So I'm just going to pick any points here. Which point I can pick here? So I pick 0. Any point. 0, it's the easiest one. So I'm going to pick the 0 here. On this side, which number I can pick?
3.
There's a 3. Any number here, any number here. Let's check the first derivative. F prime to the 0. Okay. 2 times 0 minus 4. So 2 times 0 minus 4, which is equal to -4. negative number. That's mean on this side, the function is what? Decreasing. Check the second number. It's the test, which is a 3. You can pick any number. 2 times 3 minus 4, which is equal 6 minus 4 and equal 2. That's mean on this side, the function is what?
Increasing.
Increasing. That's it. So where is the important part here? Not the test, because the test is just gonna pick numbers and plug in. The important part here is to find the derivative and how to equal to 0 and how you're gonna solve it. Okay? So we're gonna do another example, but now we need to write down. So at this point, you see decreasing and increasing. So this point is what? Is a relative minimum. Because all the points here increasing, we can't say absolute minimum because we don't know, maybe there's another point less than the y on this point. So we can say, so we're just gonna say it's a relative minimum. With all the points here decreasing and they're increasing. Okay? If they ask you to find the point, you have to plug in the x where the function to find the y, because we need to find the point. So in this case, the interval when the function increasing is going to be what? Increasing from 2 to infinity and decreasing is going to be from negative infinity to 2. If we need to find the relative minimum, we're just gonna plug in 2, x equal 2, that's mean f to the 2 is going to be equal. Plug in on the function, it's gonna be 2 squared minus 4 times 2 minus 60. So this is negative 8 minus 60, negative 68, plus 2, plus 4 is going to be what? Negative 64. No, that's mean 2 and negative 64 is what? Is relative. You got it? Because if they ask you find the point, this point is going to be relative minimum. We can't say absolute minimum because we don't know. Maybe there is another point here is going to be the absolute minimum. So I'm just gonna say, okay, it's a relative minimum. You see the steps? Always you're gonna do that. Here's the important part. If you do any mistakes here, everything is going to be wrong. That's the math. Let's check the next example. We're gonna do exactly the same steps. I'm telling you, we have to go by steps. From the easy one to the hardest one. So check the second example, we're gonna do exactly the same thing. The derivative for this one is going to be 2x minus 10. Set the derivative equal to the 0. That means 2x minus 10 equals 0. There's going to be 2x equal 10. Then x is going to be equal 5. So here is our critical number is 5. And also check the domain. It's polynomial, the domain negative infinity to positive infinity. Okay? But we have to check that. That's mean our critical number is 5. This is the positive infinity, and here is the negative infinity. To do the first derivative test, which number I can choose here?
0.
0. It's the easiest number. I love the 0 here. And which number I can pick here? I can pick the 6. Check the first derivative. The first derivative of x, which is the 0, is going to be 2 times 0 minus 10. In this case, going to be negative 10. That's mean decreasing. F prime to the 6 is going to be 2 times 6 minus 10. So it's going to be 12 minus 10, so it's going to be 2. That's mean on this side is increasing. So we have the increasing interval, which is from 5 to infinity. Decreasing is going to be from negative infinity to 5. It's also relative minimum, so decreasing and increasing. To find the point, we're gonna plug in x equal 5. Not 5, yeah, 5. Plug in 5 where? Here. So f to the 5 is going to be 5 squared minus 10 times times 5. So it's going to be 25 minus 50 is going to be equal to negative 25. So the relative minimum is the 0.5 and negative 25. It's a relative minimum. Who's gonna help me? How to find the critical numbers? What are you gonna do?
The derivative.
The derivative equal to 0. So we need to find the derivative of x. Which is equal. What's the derivative of the sine?
Cosine.
Cosine x. That's it. Plus 0. Set the derivative equal
Zero.
to 0. That's the beautiful part. Cosine x equals 0. Which angle give us cosine equals 0? Be careful between what? 0 and 2 pi. 2 pi. Is that 2 pi or pi? Please say 2 pi, okay. Which fraction? Well, that's look.
Like right there.
It don't depend on the chart, because you need to figure out.
Oh, darn.
You need to figure out that. Make you think how to find anything. When you figure out. So I start with the pi, right? So I need to figure out, I'm gonna start with the angle pi. If you plug in the pi, which is going to be here, 0 pi. If you plug in pi, it's going to be cosine pi equal 1. I'm not gonna use this one because I need to between 0 and 2 pi. Now, if I plug in pi over 2, cosine pi over 2 is going to be 0. That means here's the first angle. Now, what's the opposite angle for this one? Here. Right? Which is a 3 pi over 2. Let's give you also the cosine equal 3 pi over 2. So here is the two angles between 0 and 2 pi, give you the cosine equal 0. Now, here is the critical numbers. So, pi over 2. And what else? Let's write down here. And 3 pi over 2. Now tell me. Didn't finish. From this side is going to be 0. Again, it's not infinity. Because we're working with 0 and 2 pi. So from this side is going to be 0, from this side is going to be what? 2 pi. Now, how many intervals we're gonna check? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, for the first one, which angle you can choose here? I need an angle less than 90. Give me an angle less than 90. Pi over 6, pi over 3. Is that less than 90? So which one you gonna choose? Okay, pi over 3. Give me, I'm gonna check this one. Give me an angle between here and here. Between here and here. Pi. Give me an angle between here and go back here. So 3 pi over 2 is what? Is how much we got? 270. Okay, can I get 300? Which is how much? How much? 5 pi over 3. Just multiply. Pi is 180. Multiply. I have 3 pi over 2. Now, if I multiply 3 pi over 3, I'm going to go back here. I need to go to the other side. So 5 pi divided by 3 is going to be 300, which is less than 360. So here is our test point. Now tell me, the derivative of pi over 3 equal what? You plug in pi over 3 here. Cosine pi over 3 is going to be equal what? You have to use the calculator. Okay, cosine pi over 3 equal what? I just care about negative or positive. Positive what? Give me the number.
Oh, and then 0.99.
0 point. So it's positive number. That's mean this one increasing. Now, the derivative of pi. Like in cosine pi, is that -1? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
That's mean this one decreasing. Plug in the third one, f prime to the 5 pi over 3.
Positive.
It's going to be positive number. So this one is going to be increasing. That means the increasing interval is going to be between 0 and pi over 2. And the other interval is 3 pi over 2 and 2 pi. The decreasing is going to be pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. They ask you find the relative minimum or maximum, you have to plug in the critical numbers, find the points. That's it. How are we gonna solve this one? We're gonna find the derivative, which is y prime equal. Before that, what I'm gonna do?
Put a parentheses.
Yes, to make everything easier. So I'm gonna say y equal x 16 minus x squared to the half. That's me. The derivative is going to be what? Which one I'm going to use?
Then chain rule.
The product rule.
Oh,
Because you're gonna use the chain here.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have function here, so it's gonna be the first one times the derivative here, which is the chain 16 minus x squared, the negative half, times the derivative inside is going to be, yes or no? We done?
No.
Going to be plus the second one times the derivative of the first one. This one. It's gonna simplify it. Can I cancel the 2 with the 2? Now x times negative x squared. Can I write down this over square root of 16 minus x squared? Plus square root of 16 minus x squared. Now, what's the next step? Set the derivative equal
0.
to 0. So here is the derivative. Plus Well, what's the next step? Can I write down this over 1? And then I'm going to find. Yes, because I need to add these two if I can find the common denominator, which is the problem here. I'm going to multiply by square root of 16 minus x squared. 16 minus x. Let's see here. What we gonna get here? Negative x squared over square root 16 minus x squared plus 16 minus x squared divided by what? Equals 0. Now can I combine these together? But I have the same denominator. It's going to be negative x squared plus 16 minus x squared divided by square root 16 minus x squared equals 0. What's the next step? No overthinking.
Multiply by
Multiply by,
the denominator.
yes, always when you get like this, multiply everything here by what do you have here in the denominator part. So you cancel this one with this one. The left is negative x squared plus 16 minus x squared equals 0. We have to combine these. The negative 2x squared plus 16 equals 0. That's mean 2x squared equals 16. That's mean x squared equal 8. That's mean x equal what?
That's replace.
Yes or no? Now, how many critical numbers do we have? So here is negative 2 square root of 2. And here is positive 2 square root of 2. 2 square root of 2 is 1 point something, 1.4. So if you multiply by 2, how much going to be? Like 2 point something. So you just have to know which number I'm gonna choose here. The middle, here on this side, on this side. Now here's the question. On this side, which number are you gonna choose? It's a negative and positive. It's a negative number and positive number.
0.
0 is the easiest one, so I can choose 0 here. Now, on this side, negative 2 times square root of 2 is negative 1 point, let's say 4. So which number I can choose here?
2.
No, because negative 2 is going to be here. Okay, negative 3, okay. Can I choose negative 4? Can I choose negative 4? Think about that. Any number divided by 0 is undefined. So can I choose negative 4?
No.
Can I choose 4? Can I choose 4?
No.
Because the same thing. 4 square 16, 16 minus 16, 0, square root of 0 is going to be 0. Any number divided by 0, undefined. So 4 and negative 4 is what?
Undefined.
What does that mean? It's make the function undefined. What does that
It's a
mean?
critical number.
What? It's a critical number, but why?
That makes it undefined.
Well, it's why.
Asymptote.
It's asymptote. So negative 4 and 4 asymptote. So always be careful for the domain. Remember I told you the critical numbers is the test, the first derivative test, we found the critical numbers. But you have to check the domain. The domain for this function, I can choose all numbers, but if you choose negative 4 and 4, you're gonna get what here?
Zero.
0 and 0, but when your graph is going to be critical numbers because make the function undefined. So you're gonna choose -4 here and 4 here. It's a critical numbers. Let's check with the -4. I'm gonna put -4 here. That's mean I don't have to test the function from this side. I'm gonna test it from -4 to this point, from this point to this point, from here to here. And again, we can't say it's an asymptote. Why? Because it's not rational. The asymptote only with a rational. So plug in -3 here. Here, sorry. Where is the first derivative? Yes, you can do it here. And tell me, it's going to be positive or negative? You're gonna do the first one. You're gonna do the 0. You're gonna do the 3. Okay, and tell me how much that's up. So on this one, you get negative. And here, positive. That's mean. Here and decrease. That's mean from -4 to -2 square root of 2. This is the decreasing. And the other interval is 2 square root of 2 to 4. And the increasing one is 2 square root of 2 and to the 2 square root of 2. Now, again, why I can't choose -5? Why I can't choose -5?
Because it's outside the asymptote.
But there is no asymptote here. There's no asymptote because the asymptote
There's no
only is
rational.
rational.
Oh, okay.
But if you plug in -5 here, it's going to be 16 minus 25. It's going to be -9. -9 is going to be what?
Imaginary.
Yes, complex number. That's why we're gonna stop. Even if you took 5, also is going to be imaginary number. That's why we're gonna stop from -4 to 4. The asymptote is going to be with the next example. Because we have rational. Which number you're gonna plug in to get the function undefined? Which number are you gonna plug in here to get the function undefined? So on the side, what I'm going to do, I'm gonna say x squared minus 9 equals 0. X squared equals 9. So x is going to be plus or minus 3. That means if I plug in positive 3, 9 minus 9, 0, any number divided by 0 undefined. Plug in -3, the same thing, because -3 squared is going to be positive 9, minus 9 is going to be 0. That means I can choose all the numbers except these two. So here's the line. I have these asymptotes, -3 and 3, which is also critical numbers. So I already have 2 critical numbers. Now I need to find the third one or the fourth one. Maybe we have 4 critical numbers. So now what I'm gonna do, the derivative of x is going to be what?
Denominator squared.
That's square.
I'm using the quotient rule.
Yeah, the quotient.
So denominator times the derivative here, which is 2x minus x squared times the derivative here, which is 2x.
Over.
Don't flip the rules. It's going to be wrong.
No, I was saying it from the bottom.
Oh, okay. So you got.
Nice thing.
Why is why you saying it from the bottom?
No,
X squared. It's fine if you know how to do it. So what I'm gonna do here, I have to distribute. So 2x cubed minus 18x minus 2x cubed. Divide by 1. I cancel these. What's that? You see? F of prime to the x is going to be negative 18x divided by x squared minus 9 squared. Now we're gonna set the whole thing equal to 0. So we're gonna say negative 18x over x squared minus 9 squared equal to 0. Next step, we're gonna multiply everything by this part, okay? To cancel it. So what's the left here? Negative 18x equals 0. That means x equal. So here's the third critical number, which is here. Here's negative infinity, and here's positive infinity. You see, how many intervals you're gonna check? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So which number are you gonna choose here? Negative 4, here,
-1.
here,
1.
and here, 4. F to the negative 4, not F, F prime. Well, F prime. Can I choose this one? This is the first derivative. Now, tell me the first one. And F prime to the negative 1. And F prime to the 1. And F prime to the 4. Okay, plug in these numbers. How much you got for the first one? So positive what? Tell me the number. It's just positive, okay.
Over 41.
Yeah,
So it's positive. Here,
negative.
negative number. Here,
Positive.
positive here. Should be.
Oh,
And then negative for the last two.
oh,
So that's right. So here is maybe increasing, decreasing. So how many relative marks we have? We have only one relative max, because this is max and going down. This is also an increasing for this whole thing here. Okay? So the function increasing from -4 until 0. And then it's decreasing from 0 to infinity. But when you type the question, the solution, you have to put, keep in mind, these are two asymptotes. So from the increasing is going to be from negative infinity to -3, and from -3 to 0. And the decreasing is going to be from 0 to 3, and from 3 to infinity. Now, to the decreasing. Got it? Want another example? Didn't record anything. Okay. Like for this example. So our domain from 0 to infinity. So when you graph the line test, not to the negative infinity. It's from 0 to infinity. Okay? Now we're gonna go to the next step, is to find the critical numbers. So the derivative. Or we doing the derivative? Half of the x, of 3, there's x to the half e to the negative x. That's me. The derivative is going to be the first one times the derivative here as well.
Negative.
Is -1 e to the negative x. Plus the second one times the derivative for the first one is at 3 times half x to the negative half times 1. Now what's the next step? I don't know, what's the next step? Figure out. This is positive exponents. -1 times 3, so it's gonna be -3. Is that square root of x? And here is e to the negative x. So when you're doing these steps, then you're gonna figure out what the next step is going to be. Plus negative, this one goes where? Down. And also 2. So 2 square root of x, yes or no? So what's the left on the top? 3 e to the negative x. Now tell me, what's the next step? We already found it. I need to get the common denominator, so I'm gonna multiply this part by what?
2 square root of x.
2 square root of x. You got it? So next step is going to be what? Is going to be, because I'm gonna write down this over 1. So -3 square root of x e to the negative x divided by 1. I'm gonna multiply by what? 2 square root of x, and here is 2 square root of x. We're done from this one. Now it's going to be plus 3 to the negative x divided by 2 square root of x. Next step, 2 times 3, 6. So -6. Square root of x times square root of x is going to be x. That means it's going to be -6x e to the negative x. That's applied to the x. -6x e to the negative x and 2 square root of x. Now, we need to keep going. Plus 3e to the negative x is going to be plus. That's it, you don't have to keep going. What's the next step? We need to find the critical numbers. Then tell me.
7 equals to 0.
So equals to 0. That means -6x e to the negative x plus 3 e to the negative x divided by 2 square root of x equals 0. Next step,
Multiply the denominator.
by 2, so multiply everything by 2 square root of x. So that means this one is gonna cancel, so -x e to the negative x plus 3e to the negative x equals 0. Next step,
So you don't multiply the top by the 2 square root x.
we did. Let's do this step. Because that's important. So I'm multiplying everything by 2 square root of x. So here is going to be -6x e to the negative x plus 3 e to the negative x divided by 2 square root of x times what?
Root of x.
Equal 0 times 2 square root of x.
Cancel.
So cancel this one with this one, what's the left? It's just -6x e to the negative x plus 3 e to the negative x equal 0, because 0 times anything is going to be 0.
Okay.
Okay, now what's the next step?
Factor
What?
the e to the negative x.
Yes. Because these are common, so I'm gonna say e to the negative x, what's the left?
-6 x
Plus,
3.
what's the next step?
So negative x equal to 0.
Okay, that means
6x.
or negative 6x plus a 3 equals 0. I solve on the other side. How much you gonna get the critical numbers? For 6x equal 3, that means x equal
One.
half. So we have only one critical. You see, all these steps, there's only one critical number between 0 and infinity. Now check the previous example. How many tests do we have to do? 4. So now you're gonna choose a number here, which is
1/4.
so 1, 4. And you're gonna choose number here.
1.
Go ahead, plug in these two numbers. Tell me how much it's going to be. Where are you gonna plug in these two numbers? The derivative, which is where? Here. Okay, that's important because you have to look for the derivative, which is here. How much you got? What you got here?
I got positive.
That's mean this one increasing. This one is what?
Negative.
That's gonna be from 0 to half, it's increasing. From half to infinity is going to be. So I'm going to find the critical numbers. That's mean the derivative of x, which is two functions. So we're gonna use what?
Product group.
That's mean the first one times the derivative of the second one is going to be
2.
2 parentheses 2 minus 1 1 times the derivative of inside is 1 plus the second one times the derivative of the first one is going to be negative 1. Be careful. Okay, because this is stupid sign make everything wrong. So be careful. I'm telling you, that's what I was doing before. So now what are we gonna do? Is that the same thing? 5 minus x, 2x plus 2 minus x plus 1 squared. Now what I have to do? You need to simplify it, right? So FOIL this one. This one is x plus 1 times x plus 1. So we're gonna FOIL it also. That's mean it's going to be 10x plus 10 minus 2x squared minus 2x. Yes or no? Minus here. I'm gonna FOIL it. So it's gonna be x plus 2x plus 1. Yes or no? Yes or no? Spoiled on the side. It's x plus 1. It's x plus 1. So maybe x squared. That is squared. Plus x plus 1. That's mean x squared plus 2x plus 1. Okay? This is foiled on the side, but be careful. Then you're gonna distribute the negative sign. That's mean 10x plus 10 minus 2x squared minus 2x minus x squared minus 2x minus 1. What's the next step?
On like terms.
Combine like. So this one similar to this one. That means it's going to be negative 3x squared. 10x minus 4 plus 6x. 10 minus 1. And what's the next step?
Equal to 0.
Yes. Here is our derivative to the x. Now I'm gonna say negative 3x squared plus 6x plus 9 equals 0. What's the next step? What's the next step?
Divide to the other side.
By what?
Back.
So you said multiply by what?
We
You can.
I was gonna say subtract 9 to the other side and factor out the x.
You can do that, but why harder? I know. Because you want to do it on the board? Just factor it, it's quadratic. Like you want to move the 9, you can do that. Go ahead, work on it in your way. On the paper, work on it. Let's check we get the same result. And how you gonna factor it?
Got the negative 3x.
That's when you're gonna open two parentheses. Okay, I'm gonna open two parentheses. Equals 0. So I'm gonna put negative 3 here, and here is x. That means x here. What about the 9? How many options you gonna use for the 9? You're gonna use 1 and 9, 3 times the 3, right? That's mean 2 options. So I'm gonna start with 1, 9. If I put 1 here, I put 9 here and 1 here. Put positive here and negative here. Why not?
Doesn't give you the 6.
Yeah, that's it.
Because 9x. So we have to change this number. 9x minus 3x. Yes. How are we gonna check is the right options? We're gonna multiply these two numbers. Is going to be 9x. And you're gonna multiply these two numbers is going to be negative 3x. When you add, it's going to be how much? 6x, which is the middle term. That's mean this is the right option. Go ahead, work on your way. I promise you there is a solution. What you're doing is not wrong. Okay, but we need to see. Are you going to do it?
Longer,
I don't think so.
is this faster?
I don't think so.
What the heck?
For me, I'm not gonna care, but which one I'm gonna use, it'll be hard. But you have to like know how to solve it. If it's a quadratic, I'm gonna factor it. But he's gonna use the square root for both sides. What's the next step?
Negative 3x plus 9 is equal to 0, or x plus 1.
Equals 0, that's mean x equal negative 1. And here is going to be 3. X equal 9, that's mean x equal 3. That means we have negative 1 and we have 3. So if we need to check the first derivative, which number we're going to choose here? You choose negative 2? Here, you choose 0. Here,
4.
4. That means you're going to check negative 2, and you're going to check the derivative of 0, and you're going to check the derivative of 4. Tell me the result.
Wouldn't it be negative 3? Or the 9?
Now why? Because if you move the 9, it's going to be negative 9, right?
Oh, yeah.
Divide what by negative 3 is going to be positive. What I did, I moved the 3 to the other side. Find these numbers and tell me. the